very much for staying around to hear a bit about Salesforce Supermums. So just to introduce myself, I run a Salesforce Consultancy called Economic Change. We're a specialist consultancy that only work with the non-profit sector. I've been working with Salesforce 10 years. The start of my journey running a non-profit myself. Found out how awesome Salesforce could be for non-profit to manage everything around fundraising, marketing, HR, and adopted it to help me grow my organisation, which I grew to sort of 40 staff and 2.6 million turnover over that time. And Salesforce was instrumental in that journey in helping me manage all of that delivery that we did. And I got so inspired by that I decided to set up a consultancy, which I did 5 years ago, and we got investment to help us grow, and this is our team now. So a few mums in there, a few dads, we've got a few more blokes than is in the picture right at the moment. But ultimately, my vision as I grew up, and obviously I started my self-employment journey when I was 25, which was 13 years ago, I got to the point where I had kids, and I was actually realising Salesforce is a great opportunity for me to work flexibly and be able to still have a career where I'm earning well, and I wanted to tell other mums about it, which is where the Salesforce Supermums journey was born. And I think I hope most of you have flexible type roles where you can work with Salesforce, whether it's remote, whether it's part-time, whether it's flexible hours. Flexibility means a lot of different things. When I did a poll with my mums, the biggest things they were looking for was flexible hours and part-time work. It was actually maybe contract permanent, but having a place which appreciated that they might need to pick up kids, or they might want to work in the evenings. So for myself, I have 1 or 2 days where I pick up the kids, but then I work evenings to top up my hours, and I have other staff that work in that way. So I really wanted to shout out to other mums about this opportunity, because I think you'll all resonate, as we always are hiring as well. Everybody's always hiring. There isn't enough people in this ecosystem. And, so I just really wanted to get more people into the ecosystem, support mums who could earn well and get flexible roles, and really tackle some of the issues that do exist. There is a massive issue. There's a lot of mums out of work, and dads if they're the primary carer, because they can't find flexible roles. And employers also need to be educated and supported to kind of think, well, actually, can we do things more flexibly as well? Because I know there's some companies out there that, haven't necessarily, they've not adopted a different way of doing the 9 till 5. So, how can, one, we support the growth of our sector and our organisations to do that? So with Economic Change, we do provide some flexible working structures. Everyone on my team works arrangements, but it works for us, it works for our clients, and we're now to a team of 13, and we're constantly sort of growing. So looking for a technical director and developers, if anybody wants to join us, we are interested in talking to you. We are a non-profit ourselves, so the money that we earn from non-profits gets reinvested back into our organisation. I don't believe in taking profit from charities for personal private gain, so everything does come back in, and Salesforce Supermums is within that social enterprise structure that we set up. So just to explain the Salesforce Supermums programme and where it came about. So the non-profit that I ran previously for 8 years was a training and coaching company. So we supported young people. We supported 10,000 young people during that time through employability accredited training support. So I've been in that market for quite a while and run quite an established organisation. So I knew what was needed, what the key ingredients were to help get somebody from A to Z and get them into work. I'd also interviewed a lot of people in the Salesforce sector, having grown the consultancy, and realised where they were missing things on their CV to kind of build them up through that journey. So I put together a 6-month programme that basically for the first 3 months we get them working through all the admin competencies. We get them doing case studies work in a dev container stuff. So we rewrote our own case studies around our sort of non-profit sector, if you like. And so we get them doing different things each week. We have mentors and volunteer mentors who then oversee their homework and check that they have done it properly each week. And that's really important for me on the programme, because there's a lot of people that might train themselves, but then nobody checks if they're actually doing it right, or if they get stuck, nobody helps them. So every week we're doing a check-in of like, actually, have they understood it? Have they done it? Have they completed it? Because what we do is obviously build on that within their dev org, and they build out a dev org. If they don't do something, they again can't build on it with an approval process because it'd be wrong. So it's really important during those 3 months that they're really confident in what they're building, that they're getting it right, and they're building out effectively a whole solution, which you don't even really do on a typical 201 course, right? It doesn't exist. So when they've completed those first 3 months and they've shown that they've passed everything effectively from a dev point of view, we get them working on a live experience work project. So what I've been able to do is go out to our non-profit clients and say to them, the minimum sort of project size for us is you pay for 6 days and you get 6 days free from mum, which means we've been able to do discounted projects for all our charities. I'll come on to the statuses further along, but we've now been able to offer 48 charities 188k's worth of pro bono time as a result of getting our mums working on the programme. So it's a massive opportunity for our charities, who a lot of them are smaller, that can't afford Salesforce or make the most of it because originally they couldn't afford for it. So the mums have, one, gained from that work experience, but two, we've been able to offer a lot of value to the charities and support them. So the mum works through the project, and what happens during that process is that my senior consultants will go out and do the workbook, and we have a workbook and requirements log and specification, as you know, is the practice. And 18 hours a week of practical work, building on those competencies. So they'll build the objects first and the fields, and then they'll do the workflows and process builders the week after, reports the week after. So again, they're reflecting those competencies that they've just learnt for the first 3 months and putting it all into place. And normally that happens between the 5, 6, 7 week period, depending on the size of the project, and then they deliver admin training back to the mums. They're using Lightning. They're doing over 50 trailheads during this experience. They pay £1,500 for the course, so we've only been able to offer it to those that can pay. Next year we've got some really exciting bursary schemes which we're fundraising for, to work with mums who have more financial hardship and can't afford, so we've got some exciting things coming up there to give a bit more access to it. And when they've completed all of this, they've been doing their certification, so they'll get their Salesforce admin certification, which they complete, and Salesforce have offered us, the mums on our course, 50% discount on the exam fee, which is great. And then we actively support them into work. So part of our model is a recruitment agency, so we charge fees, but we actively want to work with any consultancy, ISV, end user to support them into work, and that's where we get them into the final bit of it. And the feedback from our candidates has been that actually they are really amazing at interview. They come across really well. They've used Lightning, they've done the most trailheads, but they understand what they've built. And also what we're getting them to do is a customer success story about the projects that they've worked on, so they really sort of understand it and think about it. So it's been really great. Now, a lot of questions people ask me is like, why don't they just go and train themselves? You know, they could do trailhead, they could do an admin course. But the reality is we come across a lot of mums who approach us and say, I've done it all, but I still can't get a job. And the reality is because actually, you know, getting that work experience and having a real life mentor oversee and support you during that journey is really important for their confidence and experience in getting it, you know, to the point where you're ready to access work. So these are some of the quotes that people have given us. People have found that the format of the course really works for them because they've got 16 hours and they've got deadlines each week. So they've got very structured learning, where if they don't do it in that week, there's a risk of them getting behind and then not getting back on top of it. So they have to keep working through it. So I personally, my learning style is I need to be in a physical training room with somebody forcing me to train. I'm not too great at, you know, being self-motivated to go and learn and do things off my own back. So I need those deadlines. They like the competition. They're all getting very competitive about their trailhead points. So they like the point that they're in a peer group and they're connecting, and they're now building. Now we've got to 75 mums that have gone through the course. You know, there's a massive community forming. So we've got a Facebook group, which any of you are welcome to join to be part of it. And they've really loved the work experience because it's helped them bring it to life as part of it as well. So it's amazing to feel like actually it's an international programme, because the result is we have mums from Spain, from Germany, from Dubai, from South Africa that have joined the course, as well as England and Scotland and Ireland now. So we're truly international. And the mentors that we've got only 45 active mentors on the programme, and again they've come from all over the world and they're mentoring. Everything's virtual, nothing's classroom based, it's all virtual learning and support. We've got some dads on the programme as well. Now, of those that have gone through the course, and we had literally I think it was 10 that finished last week, so these numbers obviously reflect the 10 that have just finished the course. So 39 have completed the course, 24, so literally last week we only had 29 that have completed who'd done their certs, so they're all now booking their certs. We do a study group after the course, so after the study group is there to give them momentum to get them through the exam, so we've got 10 that will be doing their certs. And of the 29 that had properly completed sort of 3 months ago, 24 of those are working in Salesforce roles at the moment. Our vision for it is, over the last 2 years we've been really piloting and developing the admin course. Our next one is doing a Platform 1 style course. So Nina, who's in the room, has helped me design the curriculum. So we've got to really build it out, and we're going to be basically wanting to pilot that, and we will need volunteer mentors to support people. I completely understand, and I think would resonate, that we want to only take mums on the course who've got some previous experience or have done development coding sort of training before, because that's what I understand is needed. I'm not a coder, I don't get involved in that, so I'm working with experts to help design that course and get it up and running. We would do the admin as a prerequisite, so they would need to do that and then move on to a platform course, but given there's such a shortage of developers, and there's probably a lot of mums who've previously done some sort of code that could take this step, I think it really makes sense to give them that, and then the practical work experience to help them move through. We're also, we've been sponsored by Sage. We've had 2 grants from Sage to support what we're doing, and so they run a Sage Solutions course for their Sage business product on Salesforce, so we're going to be working with them to again get mums trained up as Salesforce admin, because it is a prerequisite before they do the Sage business course. And then we've got the marketing solutions sort of areas. So a lot of the mums who've been on our course have got backgrounds in marketing and are really interested in sort of getting more advanced around Pardot and Marketing Cloud. So this is a slide you'll be familiar with. There's obviously lots of different job opportunities. As a recruitment agency, we're looking for jobs within end user customers, consultancies, ISV partners, as well as Salesforce.com, contract or permanent, that our mums can go into. So we've got at least now 10 mums on the market, given our course just finished last week. And we've been placing them into a whole range of roles. So obviously we work with non-profit sector. We really want to get candidates into non-profits, because if they have a good internal admin, it's going to help them be a better better Salesforce customer long term, because they'll have that internal resource. But we're also been placing into consultancy partners and ISV partners as well, into a whole range of roles. So what's important, I think people assume that Supermums will just go into an admin role, right? The reality is that a lot of them have got previous really good skills in sales, in project management, in consultancy, a whole range of skills. So they could walk into a project manager role or be trained in that quite quickly, because they have that level of expertise. If they want to go down the Salesforce admin or dev route, then obviously that's a specific route they could take. But we've been placing people into all types of roles within organisations, because they have a whole range of backgrounds. The fact is they understand the basic principles of Salesforce, and then we can train them up into a whole range of things. So there's a lot of assumptions that can happen around what kind of mums are working in. So just to kind of give you a flavour, I'll start with Bruna, because I think she's awesome. She passed 7 interviews at Salesforce.com and now works as a Marketing Cloud account exec in Barcelona. So she was in Spain. So going through 7 interviews with them, I think, is amazing. So she just got her Ranger badge and is doing exceptionally well in her new role. Sherry-Ann was a teacher and now works as a contractor for charities as a Salesforce admin. So she works from Durham, works virtually with clients part-time. Barbara worked at London Youth Rowing and set up their Salesforce instance internally. She'd been there for, I think, 7 years, and they'd always used Salesforce, but then she applied for a changed. It's out now. She's been working across a range of non-profit customers. We've got Deborah at the top, so she's working in a charity already. We actually get quite a few mums on our courses who've been working in non-profit environments, and they want to train up and then do the implementation within their own organisation. But her background was that she worked for another fundraising product, which obviously we won't mention, but it was a competitor. It's a competitor to Salesforce, the MPSP. So she's very familiar with systems and what they've done, and all of these guys have various different sort of backgrounds. So she's interested in helping other non-profits implement Salesforce. We've got Lucy. So Lucy works as a project manager at School for Social Entrepreneurs now. Previously had used Access databases, worked in another non-profit. What's really interesting, and I think this is where you kind of see the potential, is she's working with another Salesforce Consultancy who's working with SSE. So she's not happened to be the expert necessarily in Salesforce because the consultancy is the expert, but what she's been great at doing, and the consultancy have really appreciated as well as the end user, that she can help navigate what the internal requirements are, brief everybody and coordinate and support the people inside the organisation while the consultancy get on with doing their bit, and Lucy can see and learn from everything that a consultancy is doing. So that's the benefit of being a project manager within an internal customer sort of environment. And then Jo, her background was financial analytics before, so she's working at a big corporate doing data analytics and reporting with Salesforce. So a whole range of different roles. I know some of them have got coding backgrounds as well. So we've obviously got some good quotes on our website from people who've hired some of our mums. So a few basic asks from the audience really today. So we are going to be developing the platform course. We can't really do that without having mentors or trainers. So we're not going to launch it tomorrow. I always like to launch things straight away, but I have to be patient and wait. So we need to build up our pool of mentors and trainers who potentially would be interested. So we need people who are experienced developers to help with that. Or indeed you can support our current admin course if you have a liking. So I know all of you guys might not be the right people, but you all know other people. So just really help raise awareness of this via your social media profiles. And sort of look at getting involved. So if you can volunteer, help raise awareness about recruitment opportunities, tell other mums and dads about the course and they might want to get involved. You can follow us and connect with us on Twitter. You can also join our Facebook group and get involved that way. So thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
£1,500 fee, is that an upfront cost or is it staggered out for the life cycle of the course?
It's an upfront cost unless there's a specific financial management need, but yeah.
Have you had any engagement with Salesforce UK equality people in terms of hitting bursaries and initial funding?
So Salesforce.org have basically their primary focus has been on supporting education and schools. That's where their grants are focused right now. In terms of Salesforce's support, so we launched the initiative at World Tour in Manchester 2 years ago, which was great. So obviously they've wanted to see us build momentum and prove it. So this year their PR agency is now actively looking and securing opportunities for Salesforce Supermums. So they put us forward for the Women in IT Awards, which we've we've sort of obviously side, and they got an article in the Guardian as well for us last week, so they're actively supporting that way. And then at their 2-year graduation last week, they're actively going to work with us to say how they can support us next year. So they pledged to basically come up with a way of working with us, recruiting more volunteers and funders next year through the sort of .com side. Any other questions? Great. Oh, well, thank you for listening.